I've noticed just in following on my timeline on multiple forms of social media this focus that's been happening on what is known as critical race theory. And most of, if not all of the conversation has been centered around, and understandably so, the educational part of it. So you've had the Floridas of the world who have completely banned it from being taught. You've had boards members and getting conflicts with actually students, rather their parents, about having this shit taught in their schools. And I haven't done hardly any videos on it. Maybe we will at some point. But one thing I think people lose sight of, and this is one of the big reasons why I've not talked about it, is because my issue with this, and because what it does, it focuses so much attention away from the core issue. Now, not the, again, how you feel about critical race theory is one thing, but the issue here is there's an institution that most of you guys have little to no control over, even if you do put your kids in these camps, where the state is powerful enough to pump what you guys feel is garbage into your kids' heads, and you guys sit here and argue like that shit is just normal. So the reason why I haven't talked much of it, because again, it deviates from the issue. Public schools, if anything else, have shown you over the past year how corrupt they actually are, with the teachers unions and the administration trying to hold your kids hostage. I'm gonna be completely honest, and again, it's worth it to theorize and stuff and the dangers of it, because the reality of it is the reality of it. But how about this? Instead of focusing so much attention on trying to ban them, how about we just abolish the public schools? Then you won't have sort of this monopolized idea where, again, whether it's coming from the state or the federal level, of trash being pumped into it, and you have to trash being pumped into these educational systems, and you have to pay for it, because again, the government's not a producer, so all the money that they're using to subsidize this is coming out of your pockets. How about abolish the public schools? And I'm not saying that, I'm not speaking in hyperbole. I'm not speaking because, oh yeah, it's crazy and I'm just trying to be some like reactionary, dramatized. No, abolish the public schools. They shouldn't be a thing. It's one of the most, if not the most outdated system that has ever, that exists right now. And people still think that they throw money at the problem and it's going to resolve it. Do you not understand that America spends more per pupil, I believe, more than any other country in the nation, in the nation, any other country in the world? They got the money. It's just as trash. This idea where you live in a certain area, and because you live in a certain area, you're going to get stolen from, and it's going to subsidize some indoctrination camp, which actually send your kids there, and they come out fucking basically blind as a goddamn bat. Which bats aren't really blind, but you get it, catchphrase. And then you even pay to send them to the advanced indoctrination camps called university. And that's just beyond me. But I think it's more because it's so part of the like American culture right now that people just accept that it has to be there. What if you see, and this is what gets me about definitely the milquetoast ass conservatives, right? What if, as much energy as y'all are putting in trying to get, let's say, critical race theory banned, what if y'all put that much energy into abolishing public schools? Not talking, I know there's a school choice kind of movement going on, and some of, like Corey DeAngelis of the world, who is where I'm at, being an anarcho-capitalist ideologically, and you looking at that as like, okay, that gets us to the point to where we want to get. But just imagine. Just imagine that they put all of that energy and all that energy in abolishing the public school systems because they're rotten to the core. You see that. Teachers unions are as political as they've ever been. If nothing else this year should have shown you that. Why on earth? This is what frustrated me about the pandemic. Milquetoast conservatives, again, had the best chance that they're probably ever going to get in recent human history, albeit it took a pandemic for it to happen. But they had the biggest chance to take one of the greatest axes to the public education system. And instead of taking the axe, these motherfuckers went around campaigning on trying to get kids put back in school. Now, I don't say that to be pessimistic. It's actually the opposite. I'm showing you, and I'm trying to rather indicate that these issues can be resolved and be resolved rather quickly. It's just people's focus have to be on the right thing. Like, this isn't a pipe dream. This idea that people couldn't voluntary forms of education, or what people deem as legitimate education, doesn't have to go through the state, could come up, and people could decide where their where their kids go to school while reaching in their own pockets, saving the money that they're being taxed. Like, this isn't some bizarre thing that is just so unrealistic that it'll never happen. No, it would just take people to focus on making it happen. Look at the last year. Leftists have shown you that it could happen like that. Look at how much this country has changed within the last year and some change. Since March, let's go back even March 2020. Look at how much this country changed. So it's actually not a black pill kind of thing. I'm actually telling you, it's more optimism than anything, because this shit can change. It can change. It could change relatively fast. It's just, you gotta, like, a lot of this stuff that we focus on is smoke, it's mirrors, it's noise. Could you imagine if these Milquetoast, it's enough for y'all. Could you imagine if moving to the top of which is all goes back to decentralization, moving to the top of what it is that they focus on from a policy standpoint was decentralization. And let's just talk about it in the schools, was decentralization. So much could change. But no, it's like you get there and you see the problem, and then you veer off in another direction, which seems to be what's happening. So I'm less about arguing, okay, we'll talk about it. We have to, because it's a reality. Definitely, if y'all keep going this route, we're not going to get this element of abolished public school systems. But imagine if you had the efforts of, like, whether it be with these governors and all these people who are trying to abolish this. What if they say, you know what? How about we pull the rug from the teachers unions, all of y'all? Y'all gonna have to get out in the market and compete. This shit is abolished. And there are all these local people who've been getting stolen from to subsidize this scam. They get to keep their money. What if that moved to the top of your list? I don't know. Just throwing that out there. You just watched a clip from my podcast, For Canon's Sake. Catch us live at 12 p.m. throughout the week over at youtube.com/YoungRipper59 and follow us over at odyssey.com/@YoungRipper59. If you want to watch the entire video cast after the show is over, just be sure to become a member on the YouTube channel. Of course, the full audio portion of the podcast is available for free on all major digital platforms, or just visit forcanonsake.com.